Hi everyone, I'm here again over in Florida. I'm here for a week. I've got a few things that I am going to record, but all the footage that we're going to be looking at from this visit is going to be recorded on the new VIOFO A329. Now, it looks pretty similar to the A229, however, we've still got 4K footage at the front, but it now runs at 60 frames a second. So let's see whether it produces some even better footage. Now, it's obviously not going to be hardwired into the rental car that we've got. We've got a nice Volvo S60. I actually quite enjoyed driving this, to be honest. We've got a little trip out that we're going to go off and do today with a few of the family members. We're going to Kennedy Space Center because there's a rocket launch, and it's something that I've always said that I wanted to go and have a little look at. So that's where we're going to go today, but I'm quickly just going to put this up on the rental car. We're not going to hardwire it in. There is a 12-volt socket just down here that I'm going to be able to use, but actually it shouldn't be too much of a doll. Probably only be a couple of minutes. This is the first time I've actually used it, and as you can see, it does look and resemble just like the A229. It's very, very similar unit, so must just be the internals a little bit. I know they've got Sony Starvis sensors front and back. We're not going to look at the rear footage. I'm just going to leave this in the box, to be honest. We know what the rear footage is like on not necessarily this unit, but the A229 Pro has got 2K footage at the back, so we've already seen that, so we're not going to even bother just routing it all the way down here. I'm literally just going to put this one up and we're going to see what it's like. So in the box, you've got, like I said, the main camera, the rear camera. It does come with spare sticky pads, and what I do love about VIOFO cameras is that they come with a clear sheet that you can mount the dash cam to the windscreen and then remove it, which is pretty important. I hope you should be able to see that, but yeah, it's pretty important for me in this scenario, but it does allow you to transfer it to your new car quite easily when you purchase. You don't have to get a whole new dash cam. So what else is in the box? You've got a USB-C to C lead. One thing I do want to mention is that although we're not going to look at the rear footage, I'm just going to leave that up there because I'm going to use it in a sec. The cables on this A329 are the nice super thin ones, so it makes it really easy to get them in the headlining and run down towards the back of the car. Although we're not going to do it, you've got a trim separator tool. That's probably normal stuff. And then we've got the, it looks as though that's the charging lead, which we will be using, so we'll leave that out. Another important thing, it's a must for dash cams, really is, especially here we are in Florida. It is in the middle of October, but this is a must for dash cams, and it's the polarizing filter. The glare off windscreens is often the big determining factor of the quality of the footage that the camera can record, and I would say that's a must. They can be extra on some of the VIOFO units as well, but it's definitely worth, I think they're about 15 quid, it's definitely worth the 15 quid to get a polarizing filter. We've got one with this A329. Happy days, and honestly, I'm just going to see where I need to mount it, to be honest. I think that's going to be pretty good up there. No issues, quite straightforward. Surface does look pretty clean, so I am just going to go for it, I think. What does it say first? Please peel this after, peel this before. Okay, that's quite straightforward, even I can work that one out. I'll leave that there. I'm just going to get it where approximately I want it, and then it's removable. It's like a few bubbles in. I suppose that doesn't really matter because the camera does sit a little lower, but I suppose you could get all those bubbles out if needed. It's not too bad. But the camera is going to sit a little lower than that, so I wouldn't put the camera so high so you're looking through those protective films. I'm going to mount it just below. You do have to be careful in the US as well that dash cameras are mounted without obstructing any view of your window. It's the same honestly anywhere. I've got mine in my Ford up on this right hand side, which is quite unusual, but it does sit above the height of the mirror. So it's not really obstructing any view, and it's going to be exactly the same here in this Volvo. So I'm going to bite the bullet and just literally do the peeling off. And the sticky, these are really sticky, these are 3M pads on a VIOFO, they're very good. I'm always wary though of peeling it off and actually peeling the sticky thing off itself. No, we've done it. They are super sticky, so make sure you do get it level. Now, has that got one of the movable units? It has. I'll show you that in a second. I'm just going to get it straight, because if you don't get it level, all your footage is going to be crooked. That looks pretty good, Ash. Happy days. Okay, I'm just going to leave that just to stick on, and I'm just going to remove the actual unit itself. Which way round does it go? That way round. So yeah, what we've got, I will show you with some B-roll, get my phone out in a minute, but you can remove the dash cams. It's a safety feature, so if you don't want to leave it out on display, literally take it off, take it with you, no bothers. And the power lead, if you do get it wired in, I'm not going to wire this one in, but if you hardwire it in, you can leave the power lead just in the actual mount that sticks to your window. So it's dead easy just to remove these. So no problem. So I'm going to remove the little sticky film off the front of that. Oh, I've stuck that on. I've stuck it on the wrong side, haven't I? Without that. Oh, that's a bad fail. I suppose it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I forgot to peel the other thing off. Anyway, it's not going to make a difference, to be honest. Totally no issue. We've got replacement sticky, so honestly, no bothers. I'm just going to leave it as it is. But yeah, remember, remove that second part of the adhesive, sort of like square, before you then stick it on, Ashley and numpty. Okay, I'm going to stick the polarizing filter on straight away. Tell you what I am going to do before we start. I'm just going to open a window because it's pretty warm. It's only you have to excuse the car coming into life. It is still pretty early in the morning. It's only 10 o'clock in the morning, so it's starting to get quite warm. Polarizing filter is going to go on. You can see there's like a little line on the front, and they line up with, where's the line on that? There's a little line on the polarizing filter, so they're dead straightforward to line up. If you don't get them lined up and straight, it can honestly distort the effect of the filter. So that's on. It's nice and tight as well. It's not going to just get knocked off easily. I'm removing the little sticky film over the front. So we're all good. I think we're ready. Does this come with a memory card? I don't know whether this one actually does, so I might have to pop in and go and get a memory card. But what we're going to do first of all is stick this back on. Here we go, a bit lower than that. There we go. And then I'm going to power the whole thing up. So USB-C to USB-C. I am going to use the 12 volt adapter because in this car I do have to connect my phone to use Apple CarPlay, which is a little bit of a shame, I would say, on this Volvo. But we've still got an ability to plug this in. The T-shaped power leads are good as well. It does just go straight into which side? The other side. Yes, that side. So it's going to have to hang down, unfortunately. It's not ideal. but it's only one tiny little lead. And what I always do, I unravel them from using them temporarily like this. I need to just unplug it a sec. It's just wrapped up on the inside. That's better now. And then I can have the exact length I want without any excess, and that looks pretty good. I'll put this cable tie back on. But the power lead is long enough for it to go all the way around your dash as well. I would probably say in this car, I'd run it there, I'd run it through here, I'd run it down there, back of the door, back of the footwell, and then up the side, and you could have a pretty good sort of like install just doing it like that. Well, that's pretty good. I'm just going to show you this. Your dash cam will automatically set the time and date when a satellite signal has been received. That's pretty posh, isn't it? Like that. So yeah, tell you what I'm going to do with this. I'm just going to take it off a second and just show you. It didn't seem to like being plugged in to the power outlet. You see it up on the side, up here. It didn't seem to be like getting plugged in there. It wasn't staying on. But now I've plugged it into the actual mount. It seems more than happy.
Video protected.
So we got a video protected there as well. No problems. Not gone through the settings yet. It does seem to be running at 4K 30. So what I'm going to do is, let's just stick that back up there. What I'm going to do is go through some of the settings, change a few things that I normally go with. I have loop recording, usually set to 3 minutes. Reason why I do that is so I don't have massive file sizes, but you can set it to whatever loop recording you want. I have HDR on, and we're going to, like I said, set this to 4K 60 frames a second, because I am going to be looking at the file sizes as well, which I think is quite important. Now, it does say that it can do 60 frames a second, but can't find a setting. Might need an update. We'll see. I'm just going to connect it to my VIOFO app. We've got to connect to Wi-Fi first of all. It's actually quite straightforward. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, if I remember rightly. Incorrect password. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So looks as though we've connected. Let's go on the VIOFO app and see what we can find. VIOFO. Connect camera. Footage does look pretty good, to be honest. What I'm going to do is just stop recording and just have a look at video resolution. Why is video resolution? Is it because it's in HDR? HDR off. HDR does use more processing power, so that could very well be the case. Yes. So HDR is a maximum of 30 frames a second, but I'm not going to put it in HDR. I want to see what this 60 frames per second footage is like. So that's all okay. Yeah, bitrate maximum, so we've absolutely got it to its top resolution. Sorted, no problems. Be interesting now what the footage is going to look like. The first thing I'd like to point out is actually the colour in the video. Both images look pretty sharp, but this one, 4K 30 frames per second, the colours are much more vivid. And now if we slowly switch to 4K 60 frames a second, you can clearly see the colours aren't as good. Now let's put the images side by side and have a look at the clarity. First of all, let's have a look at the number plate. Personally, I don't think there's a big noticeable difference. Maybe the 60 FPS footage is a little over-sharpened in my opinion, but the detail looks pretty similar. When moving, there's also not that much difference. We've obviously got a little bit more sunshine in the 30 frames per second clip, but what I said about the static image can be applied here also. When you're turning is the most difficult time for dashcams to pick up number plates, but I don't think the 60 frame per second footage gives you any benefit. What about capturing detail with oncoming traffic? The lorry in the 60 frames per second clip was travelling a little quicker, but with all the examples I could find, both resolutions did a brilliant job. At night, both resolutions again look good, but I do think there is a little bit more detail with the 30 frames per second HDR footage, and we can see that when I pause the clip. There definitely looks to be more noise in the clip on the left, and this is with a little bit better lighting conditions also. The file sizes are quite significantly different though. For a 3-minute clip, the 60 frames per second footage is about 2.2 gig, whereas the 30 frames per second HDR is only about 1.5. That means a 256 gig memory card has got a capacity of about 350 minutes compared to 512. So to summarise, the 4K 60 frames per second footage isn't necessarily a massive benefit in most conditions. In fact, we've just found out, in nighttime or darker conditions, the 4K 30 footage with HDR on is probably a little better. But when the speed difference between you and someone else is large, the extra frame rate is going to increase your chance of capturing that information you might just need. All the links can be found in the description where you can use the code Ashley and save yourself 5% on your next VIOFO dashcam. And remember, don't forget the polarizing filter. Keep safe, I'll see you all soon.